I'd just love to know a little bit kind of about how this project all came about. How long ago did the two of you kind of first have the idea for Traumatika, and what did the process of bringing that to life kind of look like?
So, it's funny because I never really thought of that, but once we had the idea, from having the idea to actually starting to really do the movie, it was what, like days. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we wanted to make another film after Two Witches, so it was like, okay, we need to find an idea and then we will do it. So we came back from the Christmas break, I think, and then we had an idea probably mid-January, and we started shooting,
yeah,
early
beginning of
February.
February. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
beginning of February. So it was really, really. It's not like it was an idea that was like that had been in our heads for a while. It
Mm,
was completely opposite. It was coming from something really straightforward of like, oh, we want a kid in a house and he's scared, and we want like a creepy mother, and then we want okay, we're gonna add like some demonic possession, and then we were like, oh, well, that would be very traumatizing. We're gonna add some trauma to it. We're gonna package it with like some POV shots. Like everything came pretty, fast.
sure. Yeah. Wow, that is fast. That's awesome to
Mhm.
hear, though. It's you
Yeah,
don't know how that'll turn out, but
yeah.
it's like
You
it
know,
out
we
well.
don't
That's
have
like
time. We don't have
it
time.
it dictated also the way that the movie you see like the movie is kind of like jumping in different like timelines at different moments, and it's like that's directly make made this happen because we had to once the trauma was the subject was laid on the table, then we're like, oh well, what is the effect of that trauma? What is it going to be in a few years? How this kid's going to be affected by this? And so that's also why the movie is made like how it is. So
Sure, sure, definitely. That kind of jumps into what I wanted to ask you next too, because I was really impressed how much you kind of fit in here, especially because it's what, 88 minutes, I think it was. I mean, you have the whole possession with the demons and everything. You have the kind of the haunted house aspect, and also like these ideas of generational trauma where like we go around in the timeline a lot. Like I thought it was really cool how you kind of fit so much. So I'm just kind of wondering, was it like challenging at all to kind of fit all that much into one single script, or did it kind of just come naturally, like when you started the writing process?
I think it kind of comes naturally because of the pacing of the films we like to make. We like to have like really fast pace movies, and in that sense, you have to add a lot of stuff happening because it's not about a slow burn. It's not about like a long establishing, situation of with characters. We want to, like it's more like little vignettes of scenes that tell a story in itself, and and then it's like little blocks that you put. So by doing this kind of way of filmmaking, you end up having a lot of room for a lot of stuff. So that's why we wanted to like blend a lot of like genres of film of horror, so then we were able to incorporate the kind of like found footagey true crime slasher to the foundation that was like more like demonic possession haunted house film. So I think it's kind of like natural since the approach of a fast-paced film was chosen.
Sure.
well, also like the way I don't know if people realize like I mean maybe people who made movies or whatever, I feel like some people don't know like the way that we are going into a scene or like sometimes a lot of times even throughout Two Witches, it's like we're talking or like let's say we're doing the thing with the actor and then somebody's like and then they do this and then, oh and then they could do this, and then we're like, oh my God, that's so much better, or like, oh yeah, like that's fucked up, that's so crazy, and then like we just try to do it, like there's a lot of liberties that are taken, like, well, the set is taking place that are sometimes changing the directions where we're going also, so.
Sure, sure. No, that makes total sense. And so the movie is obviously very scary. I mean, the haunted house stuff especially got to me. I loved all that, but I really also really like how it's not just like jump scares in this movie, because like at the heart of it, you touch on some serious stuff about like trauma and abuse and that kind of stuff. Especially kind of when you dive back into what happened to the family and her as a kid. So. kind of, can you tell me just a little bit about kind of working those elements into the script and kind of how you achieved like balancing like the scary versus the seriousness of it? Like, was it a lot of back and forth?
Um, I think not well. I think we approached. It's funny because we for this movie we approached the story not necessarily on a horror movie aspect when it comes to um, the way the characters interact with themselves. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So we the heavy stuff was not supposed to be as much. I think. I mean, from my mind, as much on the forefront. Like, I don't want to necessarily spoil, but there's some really disturbing scenes that are not gory or horrific in the horror world. It's more like horrific in a much broader, deeper meaning. And it was more like the actors Rebecca Kennedy and Sean O'Brien who are involved in the scene that had such a good chemistry and connection, and they knew what the story was, that they took it way further than we
Hmm.
initially were gonna take it. We were gonna, not show, well, not that we show that much, but we're very explicit still in how the stuff is conveyed, I would say.
Hmm.
And that's because they were, willing to just do that, and because they trusted each other, they had worked um, with each other before,
Hmm.
and so they ended up making it like, you know
Yeah.
way more disturbing than initially planned.
Literally.
I don't know if that answers your question
Yeah.
really.
No, totally, totally. They make it feel very real. That's, I think that was
Yeah.
some of the most like disturbing parts of the movie, and they nail it. So that's awesome. Um, I'd also love to ask you guys about like the opening of this movie. Just because that quick little moment I thought was so effective. We don't know like the full story of what's going on with the guy who has the artifact like at first, but like we can tell it's something bad. Like it immediately kind of sets the tone. So when you were kind of coming up with that, like, did you have the full story of like what happened to him and that kid in your mind? And did you ever like write it down and decide to like take it back, or is this always how you kind of visioned it?
It's funny because that scene actually was shot after the rest of the film.
Really?
Hmm.
Yeah, the opening, and we just thought it would make sense to do that opening scene. Um, and I would think it would be cool to kind of echo what's happened with Mikey or the other children through this character, but
Mhm.
without really knowing exactly. So we know that, he must have done something horrible to his child,
Right.
and he knows that it's the artifact that made him do it. So, but we don't explicitly explain that. So you need to watch the rest of the movie to figure that out. But yeah,
If we make one day a prequel with Sean Whalen and Sean O'Brien, and
yeah,
maybe we'll explain what happened back then.
yeah. But
I would watch it totally.
yeah, oh yeah, good. But yeah, I think we wanted to give it like like the message of the film is that the bad things that these people are doing nowadays, some other people like 100 years ago did it, and probably some people 1,000 years ago did it.
Mhm.
And why do people do that? Why do people abuse other people? Why do people hurt? And the artifact, the demon, is like just the metaphor of this kind of like evil that humans have in them, that why do they keep doing horrible things to each other? It's like
Mhm.
the kind of like same good old question is like, is it inherited? Is it something that happened to you? Do you just replicate what was done to you? We just embody all of that through the figure of the demon and the artifact.
Sure. Sure. No, totally. That makes total sense. And one last question for the two of you. You mentioned Rebecca earlier, and I know she's not here, but I just have to praise her performance in this movie because she gets to do a lot between being like really scary in those haunted house scenes, and then when you do dive back into the family backstory, like really emotional and sad, and she conveys it all so good. I know you guys worked together with her on Two Witches. What kind of made you feel like she'd be right for this role, and how did it kind of how was working with her again?
Well, I think what we realized why she was the right person for the role is, well, obviously her performance in Two Witches, but also the fact that she trusts us, you know.
Mhm.
And this movie was going to be really difficult to make the scenes we had, and we were like, you know what, you know, we're not having a lot of resources, we're not, you know, necessarily vetted by the industry on a higher level of things. So we're like, okay, to have someone who's a writer down to do it, who believes in the project, is going to be difficult. And she was just right in front of our eyes. I was like, you know, look no further. She's the one, you know.
Yeah.
And she always wants to take up a new challenge. You know, she's always, you know, she likes us because they're like, she's always like, oh, you give me new things to work with, where, you know, she could be more of a stuck in a more character actor with some other productions that are like have bigger budgets. She has less creative freedom, she can explore less. And with us, with this character, she's like, wow, I've never done this before, this is like so
Yeah, we're
kind
out
of
there covering her in slime and in stuff, you know.
yeah,
It's like,
you know. So yeah, she was the right call.